Welcome to this live show, this YouTube live on April 8th eclipse, solar eclipse, which is today. Uh, the eclipse will mainly be visible from Northern America. It will start somewhere from Mexico, it's all the way to USA, several states of USA, and then finally to the Canada. This is the path of totality, meaning if you're there, you will see the a kind of total eclipse. But it doesn't mean that if you're not in that place or you feel a little farther from this place, you can also see an eclipse, but it's going to be a partial eclipse, not the solar eclipse, right? The the total eclipse with on the belt of this path of totality will last for about 4 minutes and a few seconds, like 15, 20 seconds. So it's not going to be very long, but it's going to be very exciting because it is one of the rarest event in the history. Um, for similar another event, we will have to wait at least 20 years or more. Uh, uh, so to understand how important this is, that we have to understand that the eclipse happens because the moon comes. The solar eclipse, actually, the solar eclipse occurs because the moon blocks the light from the sun. Um, but in principle, it should happen every month in new moon, in principle, because that's when the moon gets in between the earth and the sun. But it doesn't happen this way because the reason is that the uh, orbit of the moon actually is not along the plane of the earth and the sun plane, so it's slightly tilted. So what happens that, so every new moon, uh, either the sun is a little above or below, so that it doesn't happen eclipse. There's no eclipse every new moon, but sometimes it happens. And this is one of the rarest event. And during total eclipse, uh, it will appear, the day will appear suddenly as night. And there are many scientists and biologists which are going to study, which actually are going to the zoo, national zoos, and study the behavior of animals uh, during the eclipse. Because some of the birds, flocks of birds, actually go towards the nest, thinking it's night, because it will be dramatic. And some of the other animals start mating. That's what the scientific um, research shows. Um, so it is going to be exciting, because the day, it was a day, and all of a sudden it will appear to be night. And there are some studies available what effect the eclipses in particular solar eclipse will have people and its behavior. First, what I would like to emphasize is that for Earth, uh, to study the effect of this eclipse on the Earth, the NASA is launching some rockets prior to 40 minutes, 45 minutes prior to the eclipse, and after eclipse, 40, 45 minutes, and during the eclipse. So the three rockets will be sent to the space about 100 or 200 kilometer above to study the what effect it has on the environment of the Earth. So it's going to be very exciting. But if we ask what effect it does on people, because there are some superstitions like that in mainly many cultures like Hindus cultures, we should eat this, we should not eat this, the eclipse is bad, you shouldn't look at it. People with certain zodiac signs should look at it, not the other ones. There are so many things prevalent in our society, uh, but so far they're not supported by any scientific studies. Mm, at least there are no supposedly bad radiation during the eclipses, uh, which will affect particular person in a particular way. That doesn't seem to be the case so far, but still there are some concern among people that it affects people individually, that the people with certain zodiac signs should look at it and should not look at it. Uh, uh, the studies out say that the studies are in process, that which what exactly a how the eclipses actually affects the human behavior. Uh, there is one instance in lunar eclipse. For example, you may know this word lunatic. Yeah, lunatic. What that means is a mad kind of crazy, and it is believed that some people behave strange during the full moon uh, or the lunar eclipses. So historically, that word came from there. Some people strange behavior, we call them lunatic. But this particular aspect of eclipse uh, uh, on people is still being studied. So as I mentioned, they are studying about these on animals, on the earth environment in general. But people, yeah, there still should be this under investigation. Um this today's eclipse is also one of the special event that usually the if there's an eclipse, it might fall on the Pacific Ocean, or it might be on some people which cannot be habitated, and it's very difficult to see them. But this time it's a whole lot of belt in North America, the path of totality. So millions people can see it, and you might have tuned to the news that the Niagara Fall, they have some state of emergency because they're expecting a lot of people, millions of people there watching, which will happen in two, few 4 or 5 hours. So still away, there's still time. In Mexico it will start. Let me. Uh, so uh, uh, so there's still 1 hour, about one start, which will start from somewhere in Mexico. Um So at this point, if you have any questions, I would like to. If you have any specific questions, I would like to answer your questions. But again, this is the one of the important event in the history. Uh, this moon coming in between this earth, the sun and the earth, and blocking the light, which causes these eclipse. If you ask me about the history of eclipses, so it is quite not very well known who came up with this idea, because in the past, when there was a civilization, uh, uh, people didn't know why the eclipse would happen or occur. So that's where the superstitions kick in. People think, have different ideas about the gods, and these things, the devil blocking the god and things like that. Uh, but slowly, people explored into it, and it appears that there is no specific history about who first thought about that. Actually, eclipse is about because of the um, Earth blocking the sun or the moon blocking the sun. Uh, but it basically a shadow principle. But Anaxagoras is from Greek, is given a credit, and in Indian culture, in Indian astronomy, uh, Aryavat in fifth century, uh, in 500, sometime in 500, Aryavat is given credit to uh, to the this explanation. He was a great astronomer uh, in 600 years ago, who lived in India, somewhere in Patna or Patliputra, somewhere in part of, and he was a great mathematician. Apparently, he's credited. He is also given credit for many mathematical ideas in the Eastern culture. So this idea of eclipse is given credit to Aryabhat in Indian astronomy, mathematics. But the Aristotle is also associated with this name, because back then the Earth was supposed to be believed to be a flat, because it took some time for them to figure out whether our planet, the Earth, is just spherical or the flat. Um, and what Aristotle did is that there were many evidences he collected that this should be a sphere, not the flat. And one of the argument was that whenever there's a eclipse, it always looks like a particular shape, and this could be one of the indications that because if it were other shapes like flat, in different times the shape would change. But what he observed is during most of the eclipse, the shape is a particular of size. So it helped him to conclude that actually the earth is a spherical, as opposed to flat, as many people believed at that time. Um, if you have any to continue this discussion, if you have any questions about the sun, moon, or eclipse, you can post your questions. I would love to answer that. For those who are tuning just now, this discussion is about the eclipse happening today, which is mostly visible from the northern America. So it will not be visible from parts of Europe and India and Nepal and Asia. This part of it will not be visible. So only in North America, in which will start in a few hours. Uh, and So the another historical event that we associate with um, the total eclipse is the test of Einstein's theory of general relativity. So Einstein's general relativity. What does it say that? the mass, a compact mass, a mass distorts the space and time, curbs the space and time, uh, and it produces one of the prediction is the lensing, right? Uh, it acts like a compact mass acts like a lens, and this idea was tested by Arthur Eddington, the famous astronomer at the time. There was partial, there was total eclipse in 1900. I forgot the exact date. 1900. 1569, I forgot. No, in 1917 he published the paper somewhere in 20s, 1920s. I guess if any of you know, please let me know. So and what they so if his idea were correct, uh, we would see a gravitational lensing, meaning that the sun would act as an lens, and then the far away the stars behind the sun will be visible, or they would see two stars there, and actually the star, Arthur Eddington, he was a astronomer, I guess. So he actually saw these evidence, and this was the first that there was a strong evidence to support the general relativity at that time, because at that time it was looked as a great skepticism. He was People didn't believe the Newtonian idea was so profound in scientific community, so people didn't think it's a great idea. But this was one of the total solar eclipse at that time actually helped establish one of the evidence to support for the Einstein's theory of general relativity in 1920s. I actually forgot the date. Uh, so and um, um, so the other thing about the um eclipse, the solar eclipse, is that as I mentioned earlier, it doesn't happen. It is due to the fact that the moon and sun and the earth, they perfectly align in a line. So basically, moon gets into the way of sun and earth and blocks the light. And that way, um, there's an eclipse and covers part or complete part of the sun, and that's how we see eclipse. So eclipse in general are three types, three kinds of mainly. One is the partial eclipse, meaning it doesn't completely block. So as I mentioned, the path of the sun, the path of the moon, the plane, the orbit, is slightly tilted, uh, making an angle with this plane of the sun or system. So and now and then it crosses the this plane and blocks the sun. So if it only blocks the part of the sun, it's called partial eclipse, and but covers the complete part, then uh, it's a total eclipse. And there's another eclipse that remember but sometimes the moon is far away, and it is not able to, because it's far away from the earth. The size of the moon is slightly, the apparent, of course, the apparent side of the moon is slightly smaller than the size of the earth. I'm sorry, the size of the moon. So because of that, it cannot complete, even if it's a total eclipse, it cannot cover the sun fully. So what we see an annular ring. So this is also very exciting. It happened in 2017, 18. Actually, what you can see is the sun appears as a ring. Okay, and it's also very great sight to witness. This is annular. So three types of partial, total, and annular. These are the basic types of the eclipses. Uh, the eclipse is there. Are, again, I discussed a couple of advantages or the benefits of eclipses. See, one of the other things is that the study of corona. Uh, so the temperature of the sun is actually about 600,000. The temperature of this, the surface is about 600,000 Kelvin. But there's some corona above some plasma above the sun, which has a temperature of thousands and thousand degrees. Now, it is not well not understand the corona how it happens. Well, this magnetic loops and magnetic reconnection going on in the sun all the time. So which like there's the magnetic reconnection is something like the magnetic lines break up and connect to the other uh, lines, and during that there's a shooting of the particle acceleration, and because of them the particle is supposed to accelerate, and so they appear to very hot. So this part is called corona, the solar corona, and this is one of the not well studies, well known effect, how the sun accelerates to the particle to this thousands of degrees. So whenever we have this uh, eclipses, that blocks the main sun, because otherwise in presence of the sun you cannot see this, because it's overpowers. So the moon will come between and then it will block the sunlight, so that way you can see a corona, beautiful corona. And this helps to studies of corona, and these are also important because the there's something called coronal mass ejection, CME, better known as, and then these are the very high energy plasma particles coming towards Earth. Remember, we have the magnetic field, which mainly blocks the particles. This particle is blocked by the magnetic field, because what happens is whenever there's energetic particle and there's a magnetic field, the it fills a force which is perpendicular to the magnetic field. Because of that, this we have a shield due to this magnetic field. But if the particles gets very strong, meaning very energetic, then it might penetrate into the Earth, and this will destroy, or affect, not completely destroy, but it will affect our weather systems and our satellites and all, even electrical facilities, and which will be disaster if something very strong goes on there. And all these things behavior are connected to some with corona, because that's where the particle accelerations and shooting of the particle happens. So that's very important. So this kind of solar eclipse help us to study those kind of things. uh, at this point of time, if there's any question, I would love to take your questions on any topics of the sun, moon, or the eclipse, or the historical, anything. You can post your questions and try to answer them. Um, it will begin, these eclipse will begin in few hours, 2 hours I think, I know, from Mexico, and slowly it will head to the North America, several states of North America. The NASA has published the path of totality, a path of totality meaning the locations where it will appear completely dark, total eclipse, meaning total eclipse. But doesn't necessarily mean that if you're not in that location, you cannot see that. In other several locations in North America, you can still see, but not total eclipse, but a partial eclipse, even if you are away from this path of totality. Um, so it's a great event. If get chance, so there are many. Tomorrow we'll see pictures, and there are other any live. NASA, you should. I think it will start in a few hours. So you should tune into the NASA is streaming the live event, and also to study the effect of uh, the eclipse. The NASA is flying a plane along the path of totality. So that's also very interesting. The path, and as I mentioned earlier, there will be three rockets which will be launched, which will shoot into space to study the effect of um, the solar eclipse on Earth. One prior to 40 minutes prior to the beginning of the eclipse. The other after 40 minutes, and one during the eclipse. And I think it's going to be very exciting. So we will see the results, the published results after a few months or a few weeks, what they found out, and it will be very exciting. No questions? Okay. And so I talked about the solar eclipse, um, how where to find where will it start, when it will start, and what is eclipse, some historical facts, what were the concepts about the eclipses when the our recorded civilization began. People had different ideas, but the Greeks are credited for the idea that actually it was due to the blocking of the shadow casting idea, and in Indian or Eastern civilization is Aryavat is mainly credited to this idea, and then I talked about some of the advantages of the eclipses, and then there are some superstitions, some predict that you should do this don'ts and do's about these eclipses, which probably are not true. The only thing, very important thing, is that don't look at the uh, sun directly, because it can destroy your eyes completely. Other than that, there is nothing like you should. There are some questions you should eat or not eat and things like that. These they don't have any scientific strong evidences why you should do this particular thing and not. But I think it's a wonderful event, and we should try to witness is possible if we were in this origin in the region. And but other than that, what we should do, why should no there are no specific things that uh, specific do's and don'ts. All right, so it's nearly half an hour. I came here for just for short for uh, introduction, or such short introduction and the eclipses and things like that. If there are any question, I can take your questions. Maybe, and then after some time, maybe we should tune into the live of NASA, and maybe we can also discuss tomorrow what was found, because the eclipse is yet to begin in few hours, and after it will be done, there will be lots of discussions. I'm sure about that. What happened? What were the achievements? What were seen by the satellites, rockets, and then planes that will fly along the path of the totality? We can again come together and kind of discuss what was the finding about these things. Uh, if not, then probably if you don't have any specific questions about related to eclipse, so maybe uh, we should end it for today. So see you next time. All right. So try to tune in some of the NASA live, and we can sit down again and discuss those things. So for now, good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Okay. Bye bye.